Today's story is a terrifyingly true event about a couple who met a fatal and gruesome end. On October 5th, 2003, Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend Amy were eaten alive by a 28-year-old male bear named Bear 141, which later they found human remains and clothing in the bear's belly after shooting and killing the bear on sight. The life and tragic death of Timothy, who was a bear enthusiast, inspired the making of the documentary film The Grizzly Man, which came out in 2005. If you have not seen it, I recommend you watch it. What really happened, and was Timothy crazy or just a person who loved bears? We will be diving into the life and the tragic death of Timothy Treadwell. Hi, I'm Zach and welcome to Rooted Expeditions. Hit that thumbs up and let's dive right into today's story. Before we really start diving into what happened, you need to know that Timothy, who was 46, was a bear enthusiast, environmentalist, documentary filmmaker, and also the founder of the bear protection organization called Grizzly People. Timothy was very experienced in the field when it came to the coastal brown bears or grizzlies. He became quite the public star in the last years of his career doing this. In fact, he traveled to Katmai National Park in Alaska and lived among these bears for about 4 months at a time during the summer, and he did this for about 13 years. Timothy had recorded about over 100 hours of footage of his time with these bears, and quite a bit of the footage he shot was actually used in the 2005 film Grizzly Man. Towards the end of Timothy's career, he became well known as an environmental activist. On his off season, he had traveled to different schools teaching kids about these bears that he came closely to love. He wanted to share to people different sides of these bears, or really convince people that bears were just misunderstood. But really, was that the case? Timothy did a lot of his own solo camping during the summers doing his research and filming, or at least that's what he said on his videos. That's until about the last 3 summers of his career, his girlfriend Amy had tagged along with him on these adventures. Now, most of Timothy's adventures with these bears, he spent completely alone months on end. He would usually set up his camp between these 2 fox dens, and he seemed to develop a nice relationship with these foxes, even to the point that these foxes would follow him around while he was filming the bears, and even these foxes would let him pet them. Timothy just loved being around animals. It was even said that he loved being in the wilderness than being in the world. While Timothy was out researching and being with these bears, he would get into some trouble with the National Park Services. In fact, he broke many rules, such as not staying at least 100 yards from these bears. And as if you watch his video, you can see how close he gets to these bears. He even got in trouble for not putting up electric fence around his campsite. And on top of that, he didn't even carry bear spray. However, Timothy recounted in a story in his book from 1997 that he admitted to using bear mace on one occasion, but he stated that he had experienced a lot of guilt for the suffering he believed it had caused the bear. And after that, he decided that he would never use the bear spray again. Not following the rules ended up leading Timothy to hide his campsite. He would try to be invisible to the outside world and the park rangers who wanted to remove Timothy from the land. See, to better understand Timothy, he was a man that thought he could stand his ground around these bears. He felt that he had to earn the respect and show no fear or weakness, as he would state many times in his videos. He would say, if you showed weakness, fear, or even retreated, this would cause the bears to attack you, or even worse, kill and eat you. Don't get me wrong, what Timothy was doing was very dangerous. He even stated that what he was doing was dangerous and should not be attempted by anyone. The last 3 summers that he traveled to Katmai National Park, Timothy's girlfriend Amy would tag along with him. Now, Amy was not really a big fan of the bears. In fact, it kind of scared her, and stated in Timothy's diary, Amy feared bears and felt quite uneasy around them. She expressed a desire to be away from Katmai in her final journal writings. Timothy put up his camp close to the Salmon Stream, where bears in the wild frequently grazed in the fall. He would call it the maze, and this was his last spot he would be at before returning in for the year. This is where he would capture the bears getting their last meals before winter. In late September, the bears were getting ready to go into hibernation, and it was time for Timothy and Amy to head back to the real world. His work was done, and this was about the normal time he would head back every year. When they were done, they would go and store their camping gear so it would be ready for them to use the next summer. They headed to the airport, but while they were at the airport, Timothy and this man over the desk had a disagreement over the cost of changing his return ticket. So they decided to return back and stay another week before heading home. At this point, the bears Timothy was used to seeing throughout the summer had already hibernated, and other bears from the other areas of the park were starting to move into the area that they were staying at. A bear can be seen repeatedly diving into the river in the last video that Timothy recorded hours before he passed away. The bear was searching for a piece of dead salmon, which this was normal for this time of year. Timothy said in the last video that he wasn't fully at ease with that specific bear. On top of that, Amy had a very uneasy feeling this time around too. Now, possibly the bear that Timothy was filming last could be the bear that attacked and killed him and Amy. To fast forward just a little bit, on Sunday, October 5th, 2003 at noon, Timothy had a satellite phone conversation with a friend in Malibu, California. He claimed that there was no bear issues at that time. Now, this is where things took a dark turn. The following day, on October 6th, Willie Fulton, a Kodiak Air taxi pilot who came to know Timothy pretty well, went to go pick up Timothy and Amy from their campground. Willie landed his plane in the water and took it to shore, tied it off, and called out to Timothy and Amy, but there was no response. He thought he could see something in the distance and thought that could be them, but they probably didn't hear him because it was windy that day. So he went ahead and started to trek through the brush and make his way to where he thought he saw them. But Willie soon encountered a big brown bear, and it started to come at him. Startled, he ran away and headed back to his plane, jumped in, started the plane, and took off and flew around to see if he could spot Timothy and Amy. As soon as he got up into the air, he could see the campsite that he knew was from Timothy and Amy. And on top of that, he saw a big brown bear at their campsite eating what looked like human remains. Those remains ended up belonging to Timothy and Amy. So Willie called the nearby park officials. Investigations led immediately to the discovery of the couple's remains. A little distance from the camp, Timothy's deformed skull, partial spine, right forearm, and hand with his wristwatch still on were discovered. Amy's partial remains were discovered half buried in a pile of twigs and mud just across from where the damaged and destroyed tents were. While on the land, the park authorities killed a huge male bear, marked Bear 141, guarding the location where they found these bodies. Bear 141 was found to have human body parts, including fingers and limbs, after cutting the bear's belly open. They ended up removing 4 trash bag size of human remains from the stomach of this bear. This was the first known instance of a person being murdered by a bear in the park's 85-year history. The incident was captured on film, which was found at the scene, but the 6-minute recording, according to investigators, only captured the voices and cries as a brown bear mutilated Timothy and Amy to death. Timothy shouts that he's being attacked at the beginning of the clip. He cries, "Come out here, I'm being killed out here." Troopers speculated that the attack might have taken place at night or while the camera was concealed inside a duffel bag due to the fact that the recording featured only sound. On the tape, you can hear the moans of Timothy being attacked along with him yelling at Amy saying, "Run away, run away, get out of here." It's like he knew he was going to die, but wanted to make sure Amy would survive and get away. But Amy didn't run away. In fact, she stayed and tried to help fight off the bear. And on the audio, you can hear what sounds like Amy hitting the bear with a frying pan that they had. But the bear was too much and ended up killing and eating them alive. What are your thoughts about Timothy? Should he have been camping out there with these bears? Was it just a matter of time that this was going to happen? Let me know in the comments below what you think. That does it for today's video. Hit that thumbs up. Peace, I love you, and as always, God bless.